Yeah, I'm glad that we have different brains.
We've got it all written out and like, I just need to.
Hold on.
update the data.
Test, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yep, I can hear you as well. So I think you're all set.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Let's not screw up.
You still have that ability as chair, you can shut it down if it feels repetitive. So that's the way we're doing it. So,
We are recording.
yeah.
Talk about that.
Coming.
Chair.
Yes. Oh, it's 5 o'clock.
It's 4:59.
And I just like
Mine says fine.
coach around in the little.
I'm going
Nine
there.
o'clock. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. All right. I hereby call to order the
May 1st.
May 1st, sorry, meeting of the Town of Frisco Planning Commission. Who's doing minutes? Kimberly, would you please call attendance?
Yes. Lena?
Here.
Ira?
Here.
Jessica? Here. Andy?
Here.
Candace? Here. April? Here. And Kelsey is absent.
All right, the previous planning commission meeting minutes have been distributed. If commissioners have any comments or corrections, please voice them now. Seeing none, can I take a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. See. This is a meeting of the planning commission. Any public comments that anyone in the audience may wish to make on a subject not on this evening's agenda may be made now. Citizens making comments should state their name and address for the record, be topic specific, and limit comments to no longer than 3 minutes. Is there anybody that has any comments? There's nobody in the chambers. I don't see anybody online. Okay. What? At this time, I would like to open the public meeting portion. No, is that right? What am I doing? This commission is appointed and serves as an advisory board to the town council, has certain final authority as identified in the individual staff reports. Okay, the first item on the agenda is, well, we did the site visit, that was at 4. At 5 o'clock, we have a work session number 238-18-MAJ and MAJ-21-0002. Discussion of screening for mechanical equipment on the east building located at 314 East Main Street, lots 3 to 5, block 9, Frisco Town Site. Jean Gregory, representing Frisco Base Camp Marketplace LLC, is the applicant. Do we have a staff report?
We do,
Okay.
and a staff presentation. It's all of 4 slides, so. All right, so we're having this work session today regarding screening options for the mechanical equipment on the roof of 314 East Main Street, otherwise known as Prospector Place. So the issuance of the mechanical permit, as discussed in the staff report, the mechanical system was installed correctly according to the approved plans. The plans were approved before the current owner even bought the building. So we are not here tonight to discuss the location of the mechanical equipment, rather the best way to screen the mechanical equipment. So I wanted to show some pictures of how the existing mechanical equipment looks. And we were able to see that tonight on the site visit at 4 o'clock. There are more pictures available in the staff report. And these are the possible screening options. The applicant provided 3 options for us. So one option is to attach siding that matches the building directly to the rooftop unit. The other option is to construct a frame larger than the rooftop unit, which would allow access to the doors and panels, thus increasing the overall width and depth of the rooftop unit. So the staff is not requesting a decision from the Planning Commission during this work session. Instead, staff recommends that the commission provide the applicant with guidance on the preferred type of screening, specifically concerning paint colors, materials. After receiving this guidance, the applicant will need to submit a formal modification through the application process. And with that, I will open it for any questions.
Okay, thanks, Candace. Are there any questions of staff? We'll start with Candace. Do you have any questions?
So are these the only options then?
These are the options the applicant sent to us.
Okay. And are there colors within these?
And if, Lena, I don't know, you can also just have a general conversation if you don't want to go the normal down the aisle. And ask, it's up to you. It might be easier just to have a conversation with Mr. Gregory,
Okay.
if it works for you, unless you have just.
I mean, if you want to see if people have questions,
It's totally
is that
fine.
okay? Okay. sorry, continue.
Yes, there would be other options that could be, the commission could propose or that he can propose different colors.
Gotcha, okay. That's it.
Thanks, Jessica.
Chris, would you just remind us on the definition of screening? I know it was in your staff report, but I came sleek tonight.
Okay, screening is a method of visually shielding or obscuring one abutting or nearby structure or use from another by fencing, walls, berms, or densely planted vegetation.
Any questions? April, any questions?
So are we talking about screening just the side that faces the street or all the way around?
All the way around.
Okay. And the stuff that's up here, it looks like we're taking kind of a step backwards to being super shiny. Because right now it's painted the same color. And then it was a bright silver. So are we limited to these materials or are there other options?
I'll let Mr. Gregory
Okay.
answer that.
So these are what we would paint,
So-
so they're different.
Do you mind? We'll just go through questions with the staff and then we'll do a more open dialogue.
Okay.
Ira, any questions of Chris?
No, I had questions on the material, which would probably be the G.
Okay, I have two questions, and this is probably in your staff report, but just for the record. This mechanical equipment was not shown on the site plan approval plans.
Correct, but it was shown on the mechanical permit that was issued by the town.
Okay, but it wasn't on what we approved.
Correct.
Okay, and my other question is, we are required to have screening. We are not just allowed to just paint it.
I'll let
That's
Katie-
correct. We would like to have just painting, but that came up at the AC Marriott and he had to put screening up around it based on that definition.
Is it at all a judgment call or?
If you interpret what Chris read from the code, it can be. Yeah, I'll let the planning commission
I have one.
discuss that. It's a great question.
So this seems like a loophole in the process, because we had it with the AC Marriott. Has that loophole been patched? I mean, because I understand that mechanical approvals are happening in one section of the government and then the building in another. Can you talk to that for me, please?
We think that it has been patched because we now have a sign off for planners on a mechanical permit, which never happened before. So we believe so. We have not witnessed anything that has came up to say we've done it or not done it yet, but in our heads. And I think now planners were a lot more aware of this situation and our building official is also.
So hopefully this is the last time we'll see this type of issue. Okay.
And I think the planning commission has been doing a really good job, including at the last meeting of bringing up mechanical equipment so that we're thinking about it early.
I have another question. Is it fair to say that we have a lot of mechanical equipment on buildings on Main Street that aren't screened?
Yes, I think a lot of them are painted.
And I don't know if we're allowed to talk about particular cases, but I feel like all that equipment on top of the Uptown, which is a relatively new build, is not screened, or is it screened?
Can't picture it. I mean, can't think of what's up there.
It's not like diesel. I don't know what they are, but you probably do. Okay, those are all the questions. Do we want to have the applicant, do you want to come up and to the podium and maybe, or you don't have to, but you want to? Do you want to talk to us about what you think we should do?
So obviously, when we did this, the screening, and I've built a lot of shopping centers where the parapet walls actually screen the equipment behind. And in this situation here, like I said, the units ended up getting bigger because we went to the heat pumps that were required by the energy code. The original ones were quite a bit smaller. The one issue I have with in this situation, I would say with screening, we have doors on each end of this equipment. So what you see right now is about, excuse me, about 6.5, 7 feet wide. I have to have 3 foot clearance for the doors. So now the equipment doubles in size. When I put a screen, it actually doubles the look of what's up there. And I don't really, that's why I painted them to match the metal on the building because I didn't want them to get any bigger. You know, I was like, I don't want to have something so big up there. Everybody's going, what's up there behind that? And I'm going to bring up the Uptown that you brought up. If you look, they put a screen that's literally 30 feet long going down the roof and probably 40 feet going back, but you can still see all their equipment. You know, you can still see the RTUs and the hoods and that kind of thing. So,
It's hidden, but
and that's why I called Katie up one time. I said, hey, I'm gonna paint them for right now to see if they kind of disappear, you know. I mean, they're never gonna disappear, whether it's a screen or the RTU or whatever. And then another point, I was telling Chris, I had an idea to put some screen on the front of it, and because of those two stacks, make it look like a train on my roof, and have my artist come in and paint like literally the facade of a train up there. And then I go, but that draws your eye to it. You know what I mean? And so what we're trying to do here is really by painting it the same color as the trim and the metal I have on the building, I was trying to make it blend in and see what everybody thought about that. Obviously, if I do a screen with the other materials, the thing doubles in size. So then, you know, then instead of having a 7-foot mechanical area, I have a 8, 9, 10, 13-foot wide area up there. So the box gets massive. And the reasoning is when they service these by code, you have to have 3 foot in front of the electrical panels and stuff so you can work. So it makes it difficult. You know, I wish I could say I got a great option. I don't.
could I ask you a question? So is that upstairs where that thing sits? Is that open to the public?
No, that's not a seating area.
Is-
So
But is it, can people get close to that thing?
no.
Okay.
So if you look up there if you look on the picture on the right there with the van, where the white van is, to the right of that is one of the condos outside deck. So we're gonna put a screen right there to screen it, but literally there's no way, I mean, other than climbing over the wall to get up there, but there's no seating up there. There's no access other than for workers maintaining the units.
Condo that you're talking about, can somebody that lives there come out and touch this mechanical equipment?
No, it's like 6 feet back, so from there. So, and there is a wall there, so the deck, when you go out on the patio, there's a 4-foot wall there right now, so you can't really walk, you know, you can't walk out into that roof.
Is there also one of these located in the back of the building?
There's 5 of these.
5 of them across, and
Yeah.
are we only focusing on the one that faces Main?
Yeah, the reason is because of the 3rd floor step back. So the 10 foot from the 2nd floor wall is supposed to be clear of everything. And like Mr. Gregory, I misspoke one time. I thought this came in after him. This was all approved even before he purchased the building and the plan, or the property and the plans.
So where are the other 4?
There's 2 on the front, right? And then in the back you remember where that patio was in the back? The roof that's under that section of roof has 3 of them. So do you have a picture looking down the courtyard?
I don't.
You know, so if you look down the courtyard, you can see kind of the top half of one of the ones in the back. The other ones you can't see. So
And those are being screened.
I don't know what we're doing yet, right? We're
Oh.
trying to figure this
But the
out.
question relates more to this one because this one is in the step back. And so
One of the other ones aren't being screened. They don't have to. Oh, they are gonna.
Unless we come to a determination that we interpret the code to allow the painting. But yeah, they will per code. This one is the one we're talking about with you because this is the one that is super visible and we've heard from the community about what's gonna happen with this.
Is it possible to move this?
Each one of these weigh 3,000 pounds. And when we designed the building, we designed it with all the structural all the way down to the foundation. So there's no way to move it in any position because it wasn't designed that way to hold, the building is not designed to hold that weight anywhere else. And then even if you moved it up to above the condo, then it'd be 45 feet in the air, which should even be worse than what it is now.
One of the options that was stated, I think in the staff report, was to apply siding to the unit.
Yeah.
Is that actually an option?
Yes.
With your clearances that you're talking about, how would that actually work?
So what we would do, if you look at that picture under possible screening,
Mhm.
that's an aluminum siding that we could actually adhere to it to make it look like it's part of the building. So that was my idea, to not add size to it.
So your doors would have to be exposed and,
We could put the siding around the hinges of the door and kind of make the whole thing look like it's part of the building, more or less. So that was the one I liked, because it didn't increase the size of the units. And it matches the rest of the building as far as where the metal is, so.
And when you were talking about increasing the size, that would be because you're putting walls
It,
or some kind of
well,
a,
we need access to the electrical and the equipment. So on these RTUs, there's doors, like 2-foot doors. You open them up and all the electrical equipment's in there and everything. So when you do, by code, when you do anything electrical, like an electrical panel, you have to have 3 foot of clearance so you can work in that area. So you don't get shocked and you can get away from the unit itself. So then you end up adding 6 more feet to the overall width of this,
But if
which
you
to
put
me
the-
makes it even a bigger kind of.
encroachment into the step back.
yeah.
Right.
But if you put the siding, you just put the siding right next,
Right.
right on it.
We put it right on the unit.
And would that siding be on one face or 3
We
faces?
put it on 3, the
Three.
2 sides and the front. The back you can't see from
Right.
either street, so.
Is that the only color option? Can you get closer to the dark brown? with the siding?
reason we did this is the color. It's called dark anodized, like metal. And the reason we did this was because I proposed this because it matches everything on the building. So it looks like it's not standing out. It's a different color, or, if you look at, see the big window to the right of it, right to the right of that van, there's like a 2-story window. That whole wall is that siding.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
so the color is brown. It's what we saw. It would match what we saw. Color names are kind of screwy.
Right.
Because you're thinking it was silver.
Right.
Kind of reflective too,
Yeah,
which we were just out there looking at it, and I think that's what.
yeah, because I was gonna
It's
say
not
like,
as reflective as the picture that we're seeing when we look at the material sample.
right,
That looks highly reflective,
Right.
like that upper left corner. And it is probably more reflective than paint.
Paint, definitely. Yeah, it's aluminum anodized metal.
That stuff. Well, you wouldn't want to, because then it would be a different color than the rest of the stuff that's on the buildings. This would match what else is on the
Mhm.
building. If you wanted to have that texture to it, then it would look more like an architectural feature.
And we color matched that with the paint that you see on there now. So it was exactly the same color.
So you would put that on the 3 sides, and then the side that faces the condo, you would have like kind of like a little wall.
Well, we wouldn't even need a wall there because it's
Okay.
on the back.
Got it.
So
And the unit is flush, is so that all this siding goes on it pretty easily, or is
Yeah.
the unit go in and out?
no, they're pretty flush.
Pretty
There
flush.
is kind of that one kind of angled piece on there, but we would put it on the angle, cut it so it looks like it's part of the building.
I'll defer to my architect friend.
Mhm.
Is there some sort of heat rating that you can put on them?
Somewhat.
A heat rating for something you put on these units?
Well, the box of the unit, they're already rated, for fire or whatever, so to contain fire. So all we'd be doing is this stuff is literally, I don't know what the gauge is. It's pretty thin, you know what I mean? So.
And so if you do that, it's just 3 sides, nothing on the top.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't unless you're in a plane, I guess. Yeah, it's flying over.
From Mount Royal.
I'm like simple. Because I think if you make it a big box, it's gonna be
No,
worse.
Yeah.
I'm glad this option's available.
Right.
I think the big box just increases the encroachment into that
Yeah.
step back.
And the eyesore.
Yeah.
Do you guys,
I like to it.
do you guys like this better than just painting?
It feels more in line with the code.
Yes.
I think that's probably, personally, I feel like painting probably would work. I'm not sure that it's the right color right now. I might have picked the brown that's the siding behind it because the the darker kind of makes it stand out a little bit, but
But I do think it's amazing how much painting just made it go away.
I've had a lot of comments.
Like-
I was hearing a lot of chatter on the street.
Yeah.
When I'm out there.
Like,
And I
when
go,
it-
you know,
when
and
it-
I called Katie and I said, I'm painting that like
Yeah.
next week.
When it appeared, it was like so like in your face, obvious. Well, I like the siding option too. That's
yeah, I
the
think,
best option.
I think if that feels like the most in keeping with screening,
They like the paint. Or if we could just paint it, but I think because we've held other applicants to a higher standard, I'd like to make it consistent.
definitely let's not build a wall around it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we're in agreement on that.
I didn't want to make it any bigger because I go, it's already, you know, it would have been half that size if we didn't have the heat pumps and that. So when we did follow the energy code, obviously everything gets more expensive and because you got to put more things in there, it got bigger. So literally they're the weight of a car sitting on that roof up there. So
So it sounds like the direction right now that I'm hearing is to go with a hearing that. Do you think that that is okay for you to apply for? Okay.
yeah, I've talked to my guy already and he didn't have any problem with it. And we also, the problem with this material, this is called dark anodized and it looks, you know, kind of like the windows. It's got that dark look at certain times and other times it looks more brown depending on what angle you take the picture. But I think, like I say, it's gonna be hard to get something like that anodized, the color to match a siding color. Cause usually they're light anodized, light dark, you know, light or,
I was just saying if it was paint, I would maybe have picked a
we-
color
you
more
know.
like that, the siding behind it, but if it's the metals, then it should match the metal.
and I could paint it a different color. I would have no problem with that.
yeah. So I think Katie's reminding us that the siding can't be reflective.
No,
Otherwise, yeah.
So I just want a little clarity. What I just saw in the courtyard, there was kind of square, square section siding. That was brown.
Yeah.
This is different?
No, it's the same.
thing.
Same stuff that you and I were talking about. The
Okay,
classic.
perfect.
Just to also further clarify, the picture of the materials on the right side of that picture, there's perforated metal. Was that being proposed as that's what you would face if we built
We
a
built a
wall?
big box,
Yeah.
you know, and that's kind of what you see at the Uptown. They use that same kind of screen like that.
But we're talking about the metal panels on the left of this photo.
Would you do this to the other units as well?
Yeah. Well, the other one, depending on what you want me to do on the alley side, you know, because you can see the one down the courtyard down there. So that one, we would do that side, but you can't see that unit from the back. But there is one unit in the back that you can see from the alley. And there's something else I want to bring up. So we also have, you know, the mushrooms for the hoods that we painted that darker color and do we have a photo of that?
These are roof mounted mushrooms?
Yeah, so it's on the other building on the west side, about in the middle of the building. There's like 3 mushrooms back there. They're really hard to see from any, I mean, if you're in a certain point across the street, you can see them for about 10 feet. So I don't really know what to do there. Again, without building a big box, make it even more hideous and even bigger, you know what I mean? So, I mean, what's tough here, you know, when you have 5 hoods, 9 restaurants, you guys saw what I had to shove in that building and it wasn't an easy feat to do it, so,
Well, we're glad you didn't paint them the fire engine red.
right.
Great. So we don't have to do public comment, right? It's just a work session?
No, just the work session.
Okay.
Good.
Um,
Feedback for you, good direction of what to apply for, and then that will be an administrative review. We'll let you know when we get it, just so you're aware, but since you've given the direction, I don't think we need to bring it back to a meeting for you. That's okay.
So would you like to see me submit something that says we're gonna put this material on the RTU?
Yes.
So just a simple board, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna have you upload it to Community Core. We can have you put it in your building permit, because I don't even know if planning has Community Core through this application, and then Chris will process it through there. Yeah.
So All right, perfect.
Thank you for coming up with a solution and being so reasonable.
I was thinking, what can I do? You know what I mean? So, and I agree with all of you. Normally we do screen them. They're screened by parapets. But this one being in the front of the building like that, I mean, like even when I saw it up there initially, when we bought the property, they go, oh, future mechanical. I was like, why would you put that on the front of the building? But there was really nowhere else to put it due to the fact that the commercial is all the way on the lower floor. So, all right, cool.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, no, it's fun. Anytime you want to come over there, let me know. I probably have done 50 of them, so I enjoy them. So is there anything else for me?
We are all set with you.
Thank you very much. It was nice meeting all of you. And I look forward to seeing you in those shops in there.
Thanks for the tour.
All right. Well, you have a great evening. Thank you.
Oh, I have.
Step up the.
Oh, staff and commissioner updates.
Oh, you have something to say? Nice.
No, not me.
Is the comp plan done?
No, we are getting it adopted on May 13th. It'll be
Okay.
a new business item at town council.
Excellent.
So
Yeah.
the work session went very smoothly last week.
So close. And then that ties into the next meeting, May 15th, in 2 weeks. We are going to have a meeting. It's a little bit of a light agenda and I wanted to get some feedback. The first item we'll be bringing forward 2 sign code amendments, and we're not going to talk about them right now, but I want you to be aware and tell me if, I don't think you need a work session on this. You could provide a recommendation and alter what we're proposing if you don't like it. One change would be allowing not a one drive-through sign for a fast food business, because we only allow one fast food drive-through menu board. And so it would be for town-wide, if there is a drive-through, you could have you could have an unlimited or have one per lane, basically. And then the other change we would like is staff to make to the sign code is that we are seeing a lot of, we used to have something that was, you didn't need a master sign plan unless you had 3 or more businesses. Somehow the code now says 1 or more businesses, and it has since like 2018. So every single property is coming in with sign plans, and it is just torture for, Kim is basically reviewing them. They're just trying to meet the code. The purpose of a master sign plan is if you have multiple tenants, you want consistency in the design of their sign. So we say you need to have consistency in 3 elements, whether it's color, shape, things like that. Everyone is just like, why are we doing this? And they give us just this awful document, to be completely honest. And we really don't think you need it for 1 or 2 businesses going in. So we'd like to propose to the commission that it goes either back to 3 or 5. We are probably going to staff present as 5 or more needs a master sign plan, but we are happy during the work session to have you recommend to town council a different number or not even support that and keep a sign plan for 1 business. But it's just kind of a waste of paperwork. And then we have a lot of trouble interpreting all of the ones that have been done because they're not good sign plans. And it's a lot on a small business owner to write a sign plan. Like we don't want to make it hard on them. And that's why we're letting them keep it easy. But then it's like, why are we even doing this?
Yeah.
So I'd like to not do a work session for that and just bring it forward for recommendation if that's okay with the commission. So that'll be on the agenda. And then connected kind of the comp plan, I'm going to bring forward, you're going to get in the packet, or we'll post it this week, tomorrow, the 3 mile plan that exists today. As we look at it, there's so much to it. We'll also include a reminder of what was put in the comp plan. We wanted to rewrite the 3 mile plan. I would like to focus a little bit on Bill's Ranch because they are looking at a metro district. We don't know if it'll be approved, but they've been working with the county on a metro district. So there may be something we need to put in to reference some changes of what has happened like since this thing was last done. And then I wanted to work with Summit County on if we should modify anything in the Lake Hill area, because that's all within that plan also. But what I think I'm going to do is bring it to you guys is here's what we have. Skim it before the meeting. Don't read it word for word and get your feedback. If you are okay, if we make very minimal changes and we really focus on more next year, we're supposed to adopt this every year legally by the state. And we haven't done it since 2019. So since we just finished the big overhaul comp plan, it looks a little bit hard for us to just rewrite it. And I don't know if we really need to rewrite it other than maybe hearing some feedback of things you think we should update. So I'm gonna send it to you, have a work session and get feedback if you want us to update certain parts and just let us know what direction we should take as staff with that as we move forward with it. Okay, so kind of light items, but we have a couple items that will be on the next meeting, so we kind of want to just get some of these cleanup done.
What's the process for adopting is it adopting the 3-mile plan? Is it something that's adopted by the council, by resolution or something, or what?
I think it's
It's
a
a
resolution,
resolution by the town council.
but obviously it should be very heavily reviewed by commission.
And we are recommending body, yes, okay.
On the sign thing, the 3 to 5 businesses, are you talking about 3 to 5 signs on like a billboard or 3 to 5 signs on a building?
Businesses in a building. So if you have 3 businesses in a building,
They're all typically on one.
or like each tenant face.
Okay.
So if you think of the new 97 Flats, 80 West Main, that one going up, they have 6 commercial tenant spaces. Each one will probably have a sign on the wall above their doors. That's where, in our minds, 6 warrants a sign plan for consistency, and they've submitted it, we're reviewing. 3 to 5, it used to be 3, I kind of like 5 to make it a little easier for people, but we want to hear your feedback, but it's based on how many businesses are in the space. And you can think about it, plenty of time in the next 2 weeks to let us know what you think. We're not setting anything, I just want to get something in there while we're looking at another change in the sign code, just to see if we can fix that for people. The only other update I had was phones. You received, you might not have seen it yet, an email from Megan about the town is getting rid of key cards and we now are using an app on the phone. There is an available option to have a password of your own personalized code, and we can work with you through Megan, who will give you a code if you would rather not use an app on your phone. Jess had actually some great insight because she uses it at the county, the same app, and she said it works really well. So
That'll be for what doors?
any doors to town hall, and
They're
then,
gonna be locked.
so when they're locked, the way they're locked right now.
Okay.
So if
Front
you
door.
happen to be, yes, the front door will be open. We'll keep it open for planning commission meetings. But if Lena came in to sign a plat at 6 PM on a Tuesday, she'll have to use the QR code. So honestly, it shouldn't affect you all, but I would want you to have either a code or the app on your phone. So all of a sudden something you weren't like, oh my gosh, I'm locked out and there's no one in town hall and I left my purse in there after planning commission meeting last night. Like
The wash bay.
yes, if you use the wash bay, you will need the app. Yes. So
I guess I'm curious, because it feels like we just did this with the key.
I don't know. Okay.
And there was something in the email about if there's a code, it's the last 4 of your cell.
Right.
So there's an elevator right here. Isn't that a keypad on that?
Yes.
And so that paragraph would apply to the elevator?
Codes are being changed, as soon as they put in the new app software, that keypad will no longer work with your current code.
I didn't know I could work it currently anyway.
You had to give a code.
No, for planning commission, the email actually said,
No, I
oh,
understand.
yeah,
I was now how it is.
yes.
To use the elevator, you have to have a code, and if you haven't ever,
I haven't ever,
yeah.
but I will, when this new app is up and running, it'll be the last 4 of my cell.
Correct.
Say hi during work hours.
If you want to change the number to something else, you can just reach out to Megan and she can change it to whatever 4 digits you want.
That's okay.
That was just a heads up to that email. If you have trouble, let Megan know. I believe it might have started today, but I have yet to put the app on my phone, so.
I got the app. There.
So our key card, we just throw them away? They're not gonna work anymore?
Thank you.
So I went to the.
Thanks,
Q&A
Kim.
Yesterday, and it's going to be gradual, so it's going to be like 1 door at a time. And so, cause you'll also need it for upstairs. So it'll be gradual, and so your code, until it's been completely changed, your passes will still work until all of the doors have been changed and all of the locks have been changed.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I saw an email this morning that said it started today and I was like, I should have probably gone to the Q&A.
Wash bay, when's that start?
Katie, I was gonna ask, like, what town projects like capital projects are happening this summer?
I can get you guys the list. The only thing I can think of right now off my head, and weigh in if you two can remember anything, is the infrastructure, like some road, like the grading going on out here, some mill work on streets, like the typical maintenance that's on the routine schedule. Then there is the info center is being wrapped up. The Nordic Center is looking at putting in a new waxing structure, but that's actually their budget and not capital improvements. So we're trying to work through that. And then we're getting to finishing the design plans for Granite Street Complete Streets. That's a big bulk of the next couple of years' money for capital improvement.
And that starts in 2026.
It's still the
And
plan.
have you heard anything from CDOT? Do you hear about?
They're still planning on having the same timeline. We haven't heard anything
I heard
else. So that in Granite Street, our understanding is we'll still be moving forward.
Did you just ask about the paving by 619 Granite? There's parking where all their construction was. It's dirt now. That obviously is going to be paved.
That wasn't parking before.
No, it wasn't, but it will be. It looks like it will be parking.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm not sure on 619 Granite.
You know, on the Granite side, there's a long stretch. Dirt.
I'm sure that
Maybe I'm wrong.
that's probably part of like next year's bill.
Sure. I'd have to ask.
Project.
It seemed to me like that too.
When Fourth and Granite happened, that they said we can't put in a sidewalk if we don't know where the road's gonna be.
I can ask Chris McGinnis.
Not good to have dirt for 2 more years, right?
I agree.
Or longer.
Yeah, that would finish that project, make it look sweet.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting question because we also are having a parking problem with now that it's occupied, 619 Granite is occupied, the housing, affordable houses, all the.
It's already a.
CI hasn't filled theirs, but we have filled ours. And we are already having people towed every day.
So
Because there's not enough, people from the public are parking in there and the residents aren't fitting, it's already a problem.
Wait, people from the public.
shoppers.
People are parking in the parking that's reserved for that building. And then the residents that live there are then parking
Cannot
on the
park
street.
in there.
They're getting.
Oh, you need some, is there
So we're
signage?
adding a side street there to our pilot program of overnight on-street parking that we're doing on 2 other blocks that we started last year. The Public Works is working on another side street being allowed for overnight parking because we're not having enough park. And it's kind of just the problem of we allow reduced parking for affordable housing and then they all have cars. So a 1-bedroom unit has 2 people with 2 cars who moved into most of them. And so.
And it's not even full.
Wait, but it's people from the public, like random people are.
That is part of the problem. Yes, so there is that, and that is who's being towed. But then the occupancy of who's moving in for affordability. We have 1 bedroom, so only 1 parking space is required by code. There's 2 people with 2 cars in a lot of them. And so we have too many cars for what it was designed for.
What is it? What did you say about affordable housing? To get more parking?
It didn't, at first I thought it did, but it didn't, sorry. It's normal parking regs.
Do we make my side of the street overnight parking?
Can we do a
I
pilot
think
program?
this-
Fifth and Granite too?
I know. Can talk to Chris McGinnis and propose some more side streets. I think the plan was to
7.
keep growing it.
Yeah.
over
Fifth
time.
Fifth and Granite really would be a great spot for it.
The north side of
Truly.
7th really needs overnight parking.
I believe it, yeah. And that I think is going to happen with all the improvements. So 602 Galena has, they have not received their demo permit yet, but they are starting the infrastructure work through the town contract. And so you've noticed probably if you go by there, the porta potty is out there and you're gonna start seeing people work out there every day. Yeah, and then the fencing. So we're waiting for an improvements agreement from the contractor because we require it with every demo permit in case they never actually build. We use that now as a method to stop holes in the ground that we've had historically. So even though it's in theory partially a town project, we're making them submit and bond for that demo permit. And that's the only thing waiting. So you'll see work going on out there too, which will then lead probably to more improvements in that area because that's part of the infrastructure work. It's the parking.
Is the financing, is that closed? No.
I believe since the town council gave them the gap that they needed, that they are moving forward. But I also heard this week they just put out for electric bids and they didn't have electric quotes yet. So I don't
what gap needed to be filled?
$4.2 million
And that's the like, so the whole project together is,
from the town side, $8 or $9 million.
and then the county also contributed to that one, or is
We
it?
contributed to purchasing the property. Right? 1.5 million.
Sorry, and it's how many units, remind me?
Before
Wow, it is expensive.
120% AMI.
Rental,
Yeah.
yikes.
We are going to, an exciting off track, but fine, I say, Tom had the presentation with the LIHTC board on 101 Main Street this week. He said it went really well, and we should hear on, I'm gonna have the date wrong. I want to say it's as early as like May 9th or something, so we will hear if we get the LIHTC at 101 very shortly. So if we do, that will almost make all the numbers come together better, because a lot of those agreements with NHP are tied to 101 West Main too. Like a lot of the grant funding we've received for the project, we need both projects to go because we've tag team the projects on the grant applications. So,
Cool.
but you will see work starting out there.
If you get like one more minute of digression, but I got a notification, or the county got a notification about it being maybe a MIHA. Like
What?
a MIHA, Middle Income Housing Authority for 602 Galena would be, I don't know if this is true, but would issue the bonds, the tax exempt bonds.
NHP is looking into that option.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's all NHP looking at the financing for it.
Well, the state is very excited. Could we be the first?
I had a question about something totally unrelated. I went to that, the open house about the backyard trails. Will any of that ever come through us? Or is there any part of that scope that we would see here?
I'm thinking through it because I've been heavily involved in it, but it's all
Like the
county,
changes to
the parking
Zach's
lots
stuff?
are in the county.
Okay.
The trails, Pete is designing with the Forest Service luckily, but since they're not in our jurisdiction.
Okay. I didn't think we would see any part of that. That doesn't seem like something
Yeah,
would come in here. It
really
was
out of-
interesting. It was really, it
Yeah,
was neat.
yeah, and if anyone wants to submit a public comment, I think there's still a couple more days. I submitted the town official one yesterday, so the portal is still open if anyone wants to provide public comments to that project.
Motion to adjourn?
I have one more
Oh,
very detour. And I don't think we need to discuss, but just like touring that and seeing the HVAC and like what they needed for the energy code. Is there any like conversation about revisiting what the code impacts
That's
are?
a
to
great
costs?
question. Because the county, all the jurisdictions, the state has a new energy code that everyone is going to be adopting in the upcoming months. Breckenridge is taking the lead and they've already started holding stakeholder meetings. We've been heavily involved in going to those, listening to the feedback. John, our contracted building official, is also working with their consultant and also another consultant. They have a very different opinion. So what we're gonna get into with the conversations coming up with the town, and the public will be very involved, outreach to get opinion, is we can do the bare minimum required by the state, or we can go the Breckenridge route that they're planning and add extra things in, which adds an extra burden, financial burden to the developer. And there's good and bad to both of it, obviously, right? Like, but so we are a little bit behind because we found out we have a board of appeals who is basically our building advisory board. One of the members, when I went to get that going a couple weeks ago, informed me that they no longer live or work in Frisco. So we had a vacancy. So we're waiting for, we posted for applications. We only got one. We're trying to figure out what happened to one that somebody else might have submitted. We never received. And then we're going to council to get that appointed on the next council meeting. Then that board will meet with John. They'll provide their advice for what we should be doing as a town. He'll provide stakeholder meetings to contractors in the community to get their feedback. And then we're going to go to council for a work session. And so it is something that's more council, but we'd be happy to hear realtor and all of your expertise's backgrounds on it. My initial assumption is that we don't, as a community, probably want to go as strict as Breckenridge, but I have no idea if that's true. And what we really have to do is look at the financial implications that it puts on the applicant and developer and contractor, and does that weigh the benefits to the community that you get out of it?
So the new energy code is gonna be above, because what made this one so expensive was a sustainable code, right? The above above code.
And then it's more, and it sounds like even like.
One is above that? But we don't have an option to
You
not
can-
adopt it.
You can, but you can add more to it, and there are certain parts you can remove. And
You can
so.
do them, oh, you can remove some. Oh, oh, I see. Oh, weird.
That's where the Conversation will come in.
It's a base, the baseline. There are parts of it that you can opt out of, essentially.
Yes, so
Okay.
and that is what Breckenridge is up, at their meetings so far, they're talking about opting out of one or two, it's a couple sections. And, I just don't know if we're gonna take that same strict standpoint, or if we'll scale back a little bit and then move forward. It's really gonna be a council decision to answer your question, but it's a good question because we're starting that
Yeah,
literally right
Good to
now.
hear.
Yeah, and John and I have been going to the stakeholder meetings in Breckenridge to make sure we hear what the contractors are saying. They've had really good turnouts at their meetings.
I bet.
They're obviously not
I bet
supportive. To an extent. Yeah.
But to me, to have these super strict codes for the buildings and then have outdoor heated space is ridiculous. I don't know, it's just how I feel.
Things that need to get, like considered, like, yeah, I'm not saying we need to like not do anything, but correct.
Stuff or somehow it needs to be
Yeah.
mitigated or something.
Yep, it's a good point. So we'll see how that process goes. So it'll get going after that third member is appointed on May 13th. And then, yeah, it's a good timing. A
Yeah.
good question.
Okay,
Any
now
questions?
motion to adjourn.
I'm good.
We have a motion, oh, do we need to do the motion again? It was never seconded.
Motion. I'll second.
Okay. Anybody opposed? All right. Meeting is adjourned.
Slightly less public.
Is that
Yes.
something that if we ever have the opportunity to do again, is it worth it or
Really part of it.
from everyone's perspective?
Good. I did, oh, I didn't know that.